I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through, I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go, the only thing that I know. You were my gravity, but now I have to leave. I will let you go. Why do you feel that I want? What do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity. I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here to Darlington Raceway. It's host to race number 12 of Season 7 of the NNSCRA Duracell Next Gen Cup Series. It has been on the schedule ever since the inception of the series back in Season 1. It has brought about some very unpredictable finishes, some first-time winners in its past history, and it's ready to play its part yet again, write a new chapter here in Duracell Cup Series competition. 92 laps of racing here today. 42 cars ready to roll off the grid behind the Toyota TRD Camry pace car. Kyler Sustre becomes the 12th different driver to roll off the grid from the pole position here in Season 7. Sustre, of course, a former winner this season at Las Vegas, a non-charter go-or-go-home driver that had to qualify his way into this event on speed. Well, he certainly did that. He ran the fastest lap in round 1 of his respective group, and then, of course, as you see, was starting on the pole, ran the fastest of the Fast 10 in the final round of qualifying. Now, for Kyler Sustre here today, certainly he would love to get a second win. That would put him more than likely into a wild card position, provided he can get in the top 30 in the points, but it'll be interesting to see which priority tops which. Does he want that victory and then try and work on points here maybe during the second half of the regular season, or is he going to go for the points here today? Because Kyler Sustre comes into this race 38th in the point standings. He has a total of, I believe, 18, let me double check, yes, 18 points below 30th in the standings. If he gets inside the top 30 in points, then he's automatically in a wild card position with the number of race winners we've had so far in this season. But if he gets a second victory, that's a tidy little bundle, more than likely moving him into the top 30 in points, and then maybe putting him into the number 1 seed for a wild card position, since Matthew Rodriguez, another two-time winner, and Casey Hoyt, our most recent two-time winner, are both inside the top 10 in overall standings, so they wouldn't have to rely on their wins to get a wild card position. They would get their way in via points. Now, obviously, all this speculation going on with still 2 races left here in the first half of the regular season and another 13 races to go after the All-Star break before we even put the playoffs together, but might have to start making plans. Even now, you have to start making plans for the playoffs. Kyler Sustre shares row number 1 with Dylan Young. We have 4 former winners of this event in the field here today. Dylan Young is one of those drivers. Dylan Young took the checkered flag here back in Season 3, if I recall correctly. Yes, it was, Season 3. I believe that was his first career win as well. One of, I think, 3 drivers that have gotten their first career win here at Darlington Raceway. Laura Chung got very close to being a repeat pole sitter, but she'll roll off the grid from the 3rd spot. And Cody Lamas has been a qualifying machine as of late. He ends up on the outside of row number 2. Daniel Voyles has also been very good in qualifying the last few weeks. Had a pole a few weeks ago at Coke Zero Super Speedway, and he's going to complete today's top 5. Not really close for the points lead coming into today. Casey Hoyt, after a decent outing last week at I-69 Speedway, coming off his second victory at Coke Zero SS, he now has a 26-point lead over Rob Evans, 29 points back to Jesse Turner. Those are really the only 3 drivers mathematically that could leave here today and go into Chicagoland Speedway next week as the points leader. Obviously, though, the advantage very much so in the camp of driver 74. We'll see if he can maintain or even grow his points gap going into next week. But this is Darlington. This is the track too tough to tame, and it will get you when you least expect it. All right, let's go down trackside. Let's get those most famous words in motorsports. We're ready to go racing here today in Darlington, South Carolina. Very enthusiastic command to fire up the 42 engines as the drivers roll off the grid, and you see the starting lineup on the right side of your screen. So 92 laps of racing. Fuel window, we're being told, is somewhere in the 34 to 35 lap range, so they'll have to make at least 2 pit stops in this race. Whether it'll be under green, under caution, we cannot say at this time, but will be interesting to see who's going to come out on top. Last week, we saw Caleb Fogler get his second career win, first of the season. Qualified well here today, going to roll off in the 7th position in that Davey Allison throwback. Ford has won the last 2 races so far this season. We'll see if they can keep that streak going. But it's Kyler Sustre, the non-charter full-time driver, and Dylan Young, former winner on the season from Phoenix. A couple of former winners on the year that have taken checkered flags. We'll take the green flag to start today's race here from Darlington Raceway. Sustre to the lead. Dylan Young got down in front of Laura Chung to block for second place. Now he'll go to the inside here into 3. The very narrow 3 and 4, looking for the lead. Going to be dead even coming out of 4. Dylan might have had to lift a little bit. Might have got a little loose. Looked like he slid up the track a tiny bit. Had to feather the throttle. Laura Chung had to back out for him, and now she's losing a ton of spots. Caleb Vogler goes by for 3rd. Voiles to 4th. Lamas looking for 5th. As Dylan Young back on the attack of Kyler Sustre for the top position. More than likely here today, it'll be the inside line through 1 and 2. The outside line will be more preferred through 3 and 4, especially on the exit out of 4. That due to, as I just alluded to, the narrowness of the final 2 corners. Here you see Dylan Young taking advantage of that inside line, the faster corners of 1 and 2. He'll go to the lead, getting by Kyler Sustre. Caleb Fogler will follow right in his tire tracks into 2nd. Voiles looked for 3rd, was not able to keep to the left rear quarter panel of Kyler Sustre. Sustre will slot into P3. I mentioned this in qualifying, not exactly certain about drivers that qualified mid-pack moving to the front. Drivers at the rear of the field moving their way to mid-pack and maybe to the front is Fogler. 1 week removed from taking that win at Interstate 69 Speedway. He's now going to go to the point. He got by Dylan Young pretty quickly there, and he's starting to pull away. Let's watch the battle for 3rd. But as far as drivers leading today, expect potentially a lot of lead changes. Darlington in the past has seemed to be very difficult for a driver to keep the race lead. Now, I don't have all the statistics to hand. I had statistics from seasons, I believe it was 3, 4, and 6 prior to this race. And in those races, season 3, the eventual winner was, I believe it was Jack Mitchell. He led only 8 laps. The season after, season 4, where Cole Deaver won, he led only 6 laps. And then last year, Keith Batson led a race-high 18 laps, but that's all that he ended up leading. So, I wouldn't necessarily say that a driver that leads the most laps today is going to end up winning this race. A lot of it is based off of the pit strategy that usually takes place here under green flag conditions. As Dylan Young did a nice job of closing up Nearly 6/10 of a second onto the back bumper of Caleb Fogler, looking for the top position again. I think I said an incorrect statistic for Dylan Young when these drivers were on the grid. Dylan Young actually won this event back in Season 2. Benny Watson was the inaugural winner. Jack Mitchell, Season 3. Season 4, Cole Deaver. Season 5 was Matthew Rodriguez. And then defending winner of this race from Season 6, Keith Batson. Speaking of Matt Rod, different look for him here this week. It's the first time that Matthew Rodriguez has qualified the Bishop Family Racing entry into the field. Of course, Benny Watson, former winner at this racetrack, was doing the driving duties over at Haas Racing in the 80, failed to qualify, as did Jack Mitchell. They were the two that were sent home in qualifying last night. Matthew Rodriguez, though, the Steak and Shake colors, but on a Ford Mustang, and doing a good job right now in the 10th position. That's where he is in the points as well. And remember, Matthew Rodriguez has missed 3 races so far this year. And still up there inside the top 10 in points with 2 victories on the year at the Crown Jewel races of Daytona and Indianapolis. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind as well. The Crown Jewel races that everybody wants to win during the course of a season. Daytona, Indianapolis, Darlington, and Charlotte. Well, Darlington today, Charlotte in a couple of weeks' time after the All-Star break. Could Matthew Rodriguez go for the Crown Jewel sweep? He's already got 2 of them. Today, he could get the 3rd. I'm going to actually have to look back. I'm pretty sure Matthew Rodriguez has never won a Coke 600, but if he wins the Coke 600 this season, then he will have won all 4 of the Crown Jewel races. The 500 in Indianapolis this season, and then Season 5 he won here at Darlington. So he's 75% of the way there. Caleb Fogler turning back the charge of Dylan Young. Young is now drifted back here to Kyler Sustre. So potentially the closest battle we have at the front for the runner-up position. A couple of teammates lined up nose to tail there, 5th and 6th. Ryan Butcher in the 78, Laura Chung in the 77. Levi McIntyre right behind them, as well as Dylan Potteet. So that is 5th through 8th currently lined up right there. Levi McIntyre did not get a good performance last week after starting on the pole at Interstate 69 Speedway. Dropped 7 spots in the standings to 20th. He is still, at this point in time, in the number 2 seed for a wild card position behind Dylan Young. Caleb Fogler, the only other driver right now in a wild card position via a win. The other 3 former winners on the season that are not already inside the top 10. We talked about them at the start of last week's race. Zachary Fitzwater, Connor Breton, and Kyler Sustre. None of those 3 managed to make their way into the top 30 in points last week. Fitzwater is still 1 point back behind the cut line in 31st. Connor Breton and Kyler Sustre are 37th and 38th, 18 points back each. But right now with Kyler Sustre starting on the pole, leading 2 laps, so he's got the bonus point for a lap led, and right now holding down the 2nd position could be a good points day for him to maybe get back up in the top 30 overall. For those wondering who the 3 drivers would be right now, that would be in the wild card positions via points. It would be Mitchell Collins, Keith Batson, and Reggie Fogelman. 12th, 13th, and 14th in overall standings. Well, right now, field kind of spread out here at the front. Let's take a look towards the back, because it is anything but spread out. Look at this congestion. Anthony McCurry, Reggie Fogelman, Chris Dollerton, one of the former Darlington winners right there, and Cole Deaver. Nathan Orman, Mitchell Collins, Matt Haas, all here towards the back of the pack. And the reason I'm kind of looking at this is this congestion at the rear of the field means these drivers are not laying down very fast lap times. They're having to adhere to each other's braking zones. And while Darlington isn't a short track, it's not a super long track either. And there could be every chance that, depending on the lap times that Caleb Fogler is putting down, he could catch this traffic at the tail end of the field. Connor Breton in the Bobby Labonte throwback scheme. Talked about he needs to get in the top 30 in points for his win at Texas to count towards a playoff spot. Right now he's gridlocked back in 33rd. Keith Batson, who's had 2 really good runs, had that runner-up finish at Coke Zero, had a decent outing last week. As mentioned, in a wild card spot via points right now, 13th in overall standings, and a former winner, the defending winner of this race, back here in 30th. There's Jesse Turner, 3rd in points, 29 points out of the points lead. He's 26th right now. Fitzwater, 1 point below the cut line coming into this one. Right now he is 24th. The driver that he was 1 point behind, he is running ahead of. That was Chris Darlington. Darlington back in 36th, so he's got 12 points up on him. He is behind Daniel Voiles, but he is also ahead of Matt Haas. The driver I think he would have to worry about the most right now that could maybe prevent him getting up in the top 30 would be Ryan Butcher, who's right now running in 5th position. Rob Evans right now in 23rd, and not that much farther ahead of him, I don't believe, is Casey Hoyt. He's in 17th right now. So there is a chance, at least for the moment, Casey Hoyt would extend his points lead heading into next week at Chicagoland. Got a cluster of throwbacks back here. Carson Gum throwing it back to Kurt Busch. Right behind him, Nick Gunther throwing it back to the Mazda 787B. And behind him, Jessica Shelton coming off her best finish on the season, 2nd place last week at Interstate 69 Speedway in the Bill Elliott throwback. That is 19th, 20th, and 21st right now, as Cody Lamas slips up the track there. Through 3 and 4, LaPlante's going to take advantage. Casey Hoyt looks to do the same, so does Joshua Osborne. Cody, I believe, has lost the most spots since the start of this race. Ryan Brommer. Good run for him here today. 14th place. We talked about him gaining 9 spots in the standings after a really good outing last week. Actually, correction, Shelton did not finish 2nd. Ryan Brommer finished 2nd. Shelton had a top 5, though. I believe it was a 4th place finish, which is still her best finish on the season. The 2nd place finish for Ryan Brommer, though, has him up to 26th in points and try to get up there into the top 10 here in this one. James Qualls, 4th in points. Right now trying to hold off Jose Mills and Destin Bolin. That's the battle for 11th. Qualls had the engine failure last week. Finished in 41st position. He's running so well this season, though, consistently that he did not drop in the point standings. Still remains 4th in overall points. Granted, now he's 55 points out of the points lead, but having a good run here today as Daniel Voiles lost a couple of spots. Matthew Rodriguez going to move up to 9th. Reese Banks follows in his tire tracks, and he will now crack the top 10. Ryan Butcher's been able to pull away from Laura Chung. They have a 3-car fight for the 2nd position on our hands here. It says to me that Ryan Butcher has a very good long-run car. The fact that he was able to pull away from one group and catch up to another. As Caleb Fogler continues to show the way. Fogler just led his 20th lap, so like I said, I only had the statistics from seasons 3, 4, and 6 to be able to look at. And he has eclipsed the laps led by, most laps I should say, by any driver with 20 here today. Now make it 21, and soon to be 22. Currently has a 1.2 second advantage over Kyler Sustre. Now, remember last week when I basically called the strategy for Caleb Fogler about short pitting, that the lap times tapered off so much that there was a lot of time to be gained? Well, same deal this week. That last time by, Caleb Fogler ran a 31.3, almost a 31.3 flat. It was a 3.04. His best lap, 29.363. Already, lap times have tapered off anywhere from 1.5 seconds to a full 2 seconds. I believe the first driver on pit road here on this upcoming green flag pit stop cycle, which will be somewhere in the next 10 laps, may end up maybe eventually inheriting the race lead, at least if up inside of this top 6 or so. If a driver from this pack peels off first onto pit road, I think they could make up the ground that they are lacking. I mean, right now they are 1.3, 1.4 seconds behind Caleb Vogler. I mean, they can make that up easily, and then some. And here you go. Kyler Sustry and Dylan Young are on pit lane. 28's on pit road as well. Caleb Vogler's not going to give him a chance. Kyle Matthews pitted a lap earlier. So we'll see how this cycles out the 0-9. He was 24th before he came to pit road. Talking about Kyle Matthews. It's like Daniel Voiles also on pit lane this time by. Rob Evans, Zachary Fitzwater, a couple of teammates there. Turner, Breeden, Fogelman, Sanford, Batson, McCrory, McIntyre, Nathan Ormond. Levi McIntyre is in this time as the two Auto Junction Racing Toyotas continue to stay out. Dylan Poteet's in this lap. Matthew Rodriguez, James Qualls, Jose Mills, Reese Banks. So we got some interesting strategy going on here. It looks like the AJR teammates are going with the long haul here. See if they make the dive to pit road this time by or not. And they're going to. They're coming to pit road at the completion of lap 29. I said it was going to be a 2-stop race. It could be a 3-stop race. These drivers might not be able to make it on one more pit stop. I don't think they can. If they couldn't even get to lap 30, and there's 92 laps, the field's going to get spread out more, so the fuel window will expand even further. I have a feeling this is going to be a 3-stop race. I believe these are the last drivers we were waiting to come to pit road, the 78 and the 77, as well as the 74 of our points leader, Casey Hoyt. Very congested pit road. I don't like this. Laura Chunk's going to have to get into her pit stall, and Quentin Moore is to her inside. Chunk lets Quentin Moore by. That's going to lose her some time on pit road, having to lift like that. There's Matthews and Fitzwater cycling back around. Rob Evans. It's a question of who gets out ahead of who. Sustry and Dylan Young were some of the first ones to peel off onto pit road, along with Caleb Vogler. Vogler, I think, will re-inherit the lead. And Sustry and Dylan Young should be second and third. But that strategy did not work out for Ryan Butcher. He's going to lose some spots. He's going to lose about 2 or 3 positions, and then Laura Chung's going to lose a lot more than that. James Qualls is going to bypass her. Rob Evans on warmed up tires is now going to bypass her. It'll be interesting to see where those two cycle around to, because I think, Voiles down the apron there. You can run down there. It's not exactly, doesn't feel so great for the car. It can be a little unsettling. I guess trying to throw a block there, make sure Reese Banks does not pass him for what would be now 5th position. But I believe Ryan Butcher was in 5th and Laura Chung was in 6th before the pit stops. That last time by, Ryan Butcher scored in 8th, Chung back in 11th. So staying out the extra laps did not work to their benefit. Now, on the flip side, if we continue to run a long green flag run, you know, those fresher tires may come into play with them making forward progress. The other thing, though, too, with running long is it may allow them to be able to reach enough of a fuel window to make it the rest of the way. They certainly would be able to go long enough on the 3rd stint where they wouldn't have to take on nearly as much fuel on a final pit stop. That might be what they're thinking, but I don't know. I like the call of coming to pit road early. A case in point, Kyle Matthews. Remember I mentioned he came to pit road from 24th, was one of the first ones on pit road. Guess where he's at? 16th. Net gain of 8 positions right there, just because of the fresher tires on the outlap. The gaining of about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds, fresh tires against old tires. Well, Caleb Vogler was enjoying a almost 1.4 second lead before the pit stops. Now after the pit stops, he's got company. Kyler Sustry and Dylan Young right there with him. Issue for the 17 of Matthew Rodriguez. Not sure if he is still on pit road. Looks like he is not. Looks like he has returned to the track, but he has scored 3 laps down. See if we can find him. There he is, just now leaving pit road. Not the points day he was looking for after making the show for the first time in that Ford GT500 out of Bishop Family Racing. The updated scoring now has him 4 laps down. We'll try and see if it is replay worthy what happened to him via the entry split cam. Lead change. Kyler Sustre shows the nose, has the inside line advantage, and the pole sitter will go back to the lead. First time in 29 laps that Caleb Fogler is going to lose the top spot. Sustre will go back to the point. Dylan Young will move into second, and Fogler will drift back into third. You have to wonder what kind of adjustments went on there during that round of pit stops. Whatever it was, something positive for Kyler Sustre, and maybe something negative affecting the 28 of Caleb Fogler. Well, tough break there for Matthew Rodriguez. Is more than likely he is going to fall back outside the top 10 in the point standings. The good news is he's made the race. He's going to be getting points. Better than getting no points with a DNQ. And he does have those 2 victories, which keep him in the wild card conversation. Let's see who else took advantage of the green flag pit stops. Reese Banks. I believe he was running back in the 9th position prior to the pit stops, and now he is up to 4th. So a big net gain for him. Dylan Pote right now in the 5th position. Ryan Butcher has gained a couple of spots since the pit stop. He cycled around to 8th. He's now worked his way back up to 6th. Let's see about the difference of his tires to Dylan Pote's here. Gets a nice run. Caution! Caution's out! First caution of the day. And it'll be on lap 39. This will make things interesting as far as the fuel window now and pit strategy. I mentioned it. Darlington and its pit strategy is always unpredictable, and it's usually when we have cautions fly like this. Kyler Sustre will get ready to pick up the pace car. Not seeing any smoke or skid marks, so I'm very curious as to what brought this yellow flag out. Trying to cycle through some of these drivers towards the rear of the field, see if there's any visible damage. I don't see any. Oh, maybe Cody Lamas. 84 is on the apron there, and he is, it's like leaving pit road. Might have been something to do with Cody Lamas and the Carvana Chevrolet, as everybody is coming down pit road here. Gonna take advantage of fresh tires, even though they had just recently been to pit road, but they had put about 10 laps on those tires. So definitely, if you got the opportunity here under caution to be able to put on some fresh Goodyears, you are going to take it every time. There's certain tracks that doesn't matter what position you're running in. The lead, 20th, 40th, there's a caution, you have a chance to take tires, you are going to seize that opportunity. All right, let's see. We're going to use the pace car to be able to get a gauging of when the caution flies and maybe figure out who was involved. It was Cody Lamas. Cody had an issue here. Let's see if we can figure out what it was. Quickly trying to read through the feed, see if I can figure out what the issue was for the 84, and I do not see what it was. Maybe a flat tire? Alright, we'll show you the replay here. Just coming through 3 and 4. Everything seems fine then right there. Wonder if he had a flat. Cody had already passed by pit road entry. And right here on the front straightaway, car comes to a stop just past the start-finish line. And I believe he had to call a tow. The reason I'm wondering about a flat is it almost looked like the left front bogged down a little bit there. Had to call the teleport to pit road. And he is right now being scored 2 laps down. Actually, they're now listing Cody Lamas as out of the race. What the heck? I don't understand that. See if we can figure out why Cody's out of the race. They're saying an accident, but this isn't considered an accident. This is a mechanical thing. Right there, yeah, right there. It looks like the left front goes down. And because the car came to a stop on the racing surface, NNSCRA officials no choice but to throw the caution. And that's going to bunch everybody back up after the field got very much so spread out with that round of green flag pit stops. Alright, let's see if we can document of why Cody is listed as out of the race. Did he run into somebody here under yellow? The reason I want to check on that is I want to make sure that nobody else ended up getting damage from this. That's exactly what happened. Wow. So just after we cut away to look at the replay, Cody coming off of pit lane. Oh my gosh, he runs right straight in the back of Mitchell Collins. Nathan Norman gets collected as well. Not sure what Cody was doing there. Obviously, he was trying to catch up to the pace car to, I guess, get into his position. But there were cars that were indicating they were coming to pit road. Right there in turn 3. And Cody never slowed down. It's just like that. Cody Lamas' day goes from bad to worse. He would have been 2 laps down. Now he's out of the race, and he will more than likely finish dead last today. 8th in points coming into this one. He could very easily fall outside of the top 10 in point standings after this race because of that. We already know Matthew Rodriguez probably will, as he is still trapped 4 laps down. He will bypass Cody Lamas and move up to 41st. 40 of our 41 drivers will be on the lead lap. You see the lights out atop the pace car. Kyler Sustre won the battle off pit road. He'll have Dylan Young, Caleb Vogler, Reese Banks, and Dylan Pote the top 5 behind him. Ryan Butcher, Zachary Fitzwater, Levi McIntyre, Rob Evans, and Ryan Brommer will be the top 10. Nathan Ormond, Mitchell Collins, Keith Batts, and a couple of drivers that got pieces of that incident with Cody Lamas. They've made repairs, returned to the track. Jury's out on how up to speed the 33 is going to be because he got hit almost full speed. As the green flag is back in the air here, lap 44 goes on the board. We're nearly halfway home. About 3 more laps, and we'll be at the halfway mark here at Darlington. Fresh tires for all these drivers, a little bit of security going into the corner. Who makes the first move? Looks like Reese Banks stepping out of line on Caleb Vogler for 3rd place. Can he make it stick? Yes, he can. Vogler going to get shuffled out on that top side. Dylan Pote now going to look to move to 4th. Vogler going to throw the block on Butcher, so he'll lose 2 spots, go from 3rd back to 5th. And Reese Banks once more. Well, last year, we saw Caleb Vogler pick up his first career victory during the playoffs, the first race of the playoffs at Gateway, and saw him go to victory lane last week. Now putting himself maybe in a potential playoff position. Reese Banks in the 44 kind of fits the same bill. He got his first career win during the playoffs last year at Talladega, and now he's trying to go to victory lane for the 2nd time in his career and 1st time this season. Potentially going for a playoff spot in his own right, as you had a Dylan pass a Dylan, Poteet passing Young, Poteet moving into the 2nd spot. Reese Banks, though, on the hunt. He's going to move into the runner-up spot. Well, or is he? Poteet's going to battle back there on the outside line. Banks will still be on the inside, but can Poteet clear him? Yes, he can. Poteet will hold on to 2nd place. Reese Banks couldn't keep his foot in the throttle there off of turn 4. Couldn't get that momentum he needed down the front straightaway. And speaking of momentum, look at the run that Dylan Pote just got there through 1 and 2. Gonna have a big run here. Look to the inside on Kyler Sustre for the lead going into 3. Sustre way up the track. Pote very low, almost clipping the apron with the left side tires. Oh, he's going to get pinched there off of turn 4. Not going to be able to make the move this time. Shows the nose again, though, this time into turn 1. Suster can't throw the block. Poteet's there, and Poteet will go to the lead. Banks will move into second. We're seeing it again with the field bunched up the way it is. It's very difficult for someone to hold on to the race lead. Levi McIntyre on the move. He just moved up to 5th place. Vogler, who's led the most laps so far today, 29. He has drifted back now outside of the top 5. He might have brushed the wall there off of turn 4 as he's back around the 11th position now. Well, Reese Banks had a good start to the season. He's tapered off a little bit. He comes into this one 21st in points, but he's seen his rookie teammate Casey Hoyt go to victory lane twice. Jesse Turner's 3rd in points with 4 top 5s and 5 top 10s. So Reese Banks trying to not necessarily get on the same level, but at least get in the same vicinity as his teammates. And a win could do that here today, but how about Dylan Poteet? Long winless streak for Dylan. Sticking here with Fortnite Squad Racing, they did the split this season of half the team to Mazdas, half the team to Chevrolets. Dylan Poteet on the Chevrolet side, and I think probably outside of the fact he hasn't won a race, this has been the best start Dylan Poteet has ever had in his Duracell Cup Series career. He's 7th in overall points right now, 2 top 5s, 6 top 10s, but the thing that stands out to me, his average finishing position in 11 races is 17th. And really, in the early portion of the season, if you can have a better average finishing position than 20th, you're doing pretty good. That's usually the kind of people we look at, the kind of criteria we look at as drivers that, under the old point system that we had, would have made their way into some of the final spots of the playoffs via points. And Poteet right now, being in the top 10 in points, would be locked into a playoff spot. He is the highest of the Fortnite Squad Racing drivers as well in the point standings. Next highest to him would be Anthony McCurry, who's 18th in overall points. One driver I noticed, and he's still up here inside the top 10, a couple of them actually, that we didn't highlight after the cycle of green flag pit stops, and they gained track position with it. Rob Evans and Zachary Fitzwater, the teammates out of Evans Motorsports. Rob Evans is now up to 7th place, and Zachary Fitzwater is up to 9th. Now, why that's important is because for Zachary Fitzwater, he's trying to get in the top 30 in points. For Rob Evans, he's trying to cut into the points lead that Casey Hoyt built last week. Those two were separated by 9 points going into Interstate 69 Speedway, I should say. And now 26 points separated them coming into this one. Now, Casey Hoyt, as we saw before, was running way up ahead of Rob Evans. But now Rob Evans is about 4 positions ahead of the 74. So it's not a huge gain, but it's a gain. Caleb Vogler really fell off there. Got shuffled to the outside a couple of times and nearly just got ran into the back of by Casey Hoyt there going into 3. Vogler holding down the 10th position after leading a race high 29 laps. Kyler Sustre has led 14 so far. Dylan Poteet about to come around and lead his 7th lap. And the only other driver that's led a lap here today, well, 2 drivers actually, Ryan Butcher has led 3 and Dylan Young has led 1. So we went back green on lap 44, I believe it was. Completion of lap 43. These drivers will more than likely, if we hold to about what they went, 29, 30 laps on the first green flag run, that means that we'll be seeing them on pit road around lap 73, lap 74, which would be with 18 or so to go. So I think that that caution did break it up enough so that way they were able to make that one pit stop there under caution, and now it's 1 stop to the finish. It's a question though of when do you want to pit? Fuel window would basically be open anywhere around the lap 61 mark, which is within 4 laps. I don't think you'll have anybody come to pit road that early, but the option is there. Well, Poteet had pulled away from Reese Banks and company. Now they reel him right back in, accordion back up. to the Mountain Dew Chevrolet. You got 3 cars here, another 6 behind, and then a long ways back to 10th place, Casey Hoyt. It's about 1.7 seconds from Fitzwater in 9th back to Hoyt in 10th position. So that group, 10th place on back, they're probably going to have to rely on pit strategy to get up here inside of the top 10, or they could maybe use a caution. So far, only 1 caution flag here today for the flat tire for Cody Lamas on the front straightaway. It's been a very competitive race here at Darlington, and still got 1 pit stop to decide it all. Battle for 4th. Ryan Butcher trying to hold off Levi McIntyre. Levi looking for his 2nd win on the season. Levi trying to get his 2nd win at another track with a nickname. His first win of the season was at the Tricky Triangle. Now he's trying to tame the track too tough to tame, the Lady in Black, as he made the move there on Kyler Sustre. With the aid of Ryan Butcher, they move into 3rd and 4th. Sustre going to lose another spot to Dylan Young and slams the door on Rob Evans before he loses any more positions. But so far so good for a couple of the former winners on the season that need to get back up in the top 30 in points, that being Sustre and Fitzwater right now in the 6th and 9th positions. Connor Breton, on the other hand, the 88 is currently scored in 33rd, so unless things change, it seems very unlikely that our Texas winner will be up inside the top 30 in points leaving Darlington today. Reminder, next week, it's the last race of the first half of the regular season. As we head into the Midwest, it's Chicagoland Speedway. Going to be a last opportunity for a driver via a points race to lock themselves into the All-Star race field. That All-Star race venue still up in the air. Still don't know where we're going. Probably won't know until the week of. Let's drop back to that 10th place group. And it's not much of a group. There's only 3 of them back here, with Hoyt, Brommer, Jose Mills making a move there for 11th. On Ryan Brommer, shuffling him back to 12th. His teammate Laura Chung trying to take advantage. James Qualls right there as well. I'll give a shout out to Auto Junction Racing. We've talked the last couple of weeks about how they've all collectively been sliding down in the point standings. All 3 of them up here right now inside of the top 14. Actually, I believe inside the top 13 in the running order. Butcher right now the highest of them in 3rd. So well done to that organization. Maybe they're getting things turned around. Last couple of seasons, they've been about the most consistent team. Ryan Butcher and Laura Chung, winners last season, made their way into the playoffs. Remember back to season 5 when it was Ryan Butcher, Alexander Rowe, and yeah, who was the other driver? Can't think of it off the top of my head. Butcher, Rowe, and somebody else, and they ended up winning the regular season championship in the 78 car. 77 car didn't do so bad that year either. Well, they got by Kyler Sustre. They get by Reese Banks. Ryan Butcher, right now, has been cutting through the field, and Levi McIntyre has been letting him do all the work. 78 might have the fastest car in the field at this point in time, but there's still that pit stop coming up. And I believe, trying to remember back to my calculations, that's going to be within the next 10 laps, somewhere around 6 to 8 laps from now. If you're wondering about lap time fall off at this point, race leader Dylan Poteet just ran 2.2 seconds slower than the fastest lap he's put down today. 2.1 seconds slower for Ryan Butcher. 1.9 seconds slower for Levi McIntyre. So right around the 2-second mark, and Poteet's to pit road. We saw this almost really work out for Caleb Fogler, pitting from the race lead, though he did get reeled in and passed after the cycle of pit stops were complete by Kyler Sustre, but I like the call again. Throw down the gauntlet, force everybody else to do something different. Stick with your strategy, take advantage of catching everyone else off guard, because there's nobody else ahead of you that can leapfrog you. Got more coming on pit road here. Ryan Butcher's coming in. Reese Banks. Rob Evans. As soon as they saw Poteet dive to pit lane, sure their crew chief came over the radio saying, we got to come in this time. Can't let him get a gap on us. Bunch of others towards the rear of the field coming in. Levi McIntyre gets his first lap lead of the day as he stays out. And he's coming in this time. Dylan Young, Sustre, looks like Voiles is going to stay out to lead a lap here in the 26. Daniel Voiles playing a little strategy here. Might be enough laps for it to work out on maybe getting those fresher tires for the final run to the checkered flag. Gets him a bonus point for a lap led, so that's important. Voiles coming off that run last week, his first top 10 on the season, gaining 7 spots in the standings to 29th. I believe he and Benjamin Miles are the last 2 drivers that we are waiting on to pit. Miles coming in this time as well. And then it looks like it would cycle around back to the 31 of Dylan Poteet. Ryan Butcher and Reese Banks look like back there would be second and third. Do they have enough time to reel in Dylan Poteet? Of course they do. We haven't even hit the 20 to go mark. Still plenty of time. And if a caution comes out like it did right after the cycle green flag pit stops the first time, that's going to give everybody a shot. Poteet right now scored in 19th. We're waiting for scoring to update itself. Now up to third. And once he completes the pass around Voiles and Miles, Poteet will be back to the front. Battle on for the second position there. Ryan Butcher and Reese Banks. Honestly, there is draft here at Darlington, so I think these two would be well served just staying nose to tail and trying to see if they can reel in the 31. Then you got teammates right now in the 4th and 5th position, Fitzwater and Evans. Fitzwater has made a lot of gains on green flag pit stops today. He gained about 4 spots on the first round of green flag pit stops, and I think he just gained about another 2 or 3 here on this cycle. Evans right now in the 5th position. Ryan Brommer now going to be up to 6th. Levi McIntyre in 7th. Chris Darlington, where the heck did the 83 come from? He's now up in the top 10 in the 8th spot with Dylan Young in 9th, Jose Mills in 10th. Got Casey Hoyt in 11th, Anthony McCrory 12th, Jessica Shelton about to have another good run today. Off that top 5 run last week, right now in 13th position. Great run for her. 14th, Laura Chung, and Charles Sanford right now completes the top 15. A number of notables have fallen out of the top 10. There's Kyler Sustre. He's all the way back in 17th. Where did Fogler go? Fogler's back to 30th. Not sure what happened with those drivers on that round of pit stops, but it has not played to their benefit. That's for sure. And 3-way, 4-way battle for the lead. Look at this. Poteet, Butcher, Banks, and Fitzwater. This thing is not over yet. All 4 of these drivers wanting to win this race for different reasons. 3 of the 4 looking for their first win on the season. Fitzwater is the only driver of this top 4 that has a win formerly this year at Mid-Ohio. Banks and Butcher, they won last season. Dylan Poteet, I'm trying to remember the last win he had. I'm pretty sure it was season 5. I think Poteet had a win in season 5 when he was driving in the 3-driver effort in the 31 car. I'd have to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure he did. Do we have traffic these leaders are going to have to deal with? Mitchell Collins, no back end after he got clobbered by Cody Lamas earlier on this one. And Keith Batson, they're on the same straightaway as the race leaders. They're only about maybe 3/4 of a straightaway ahead of them. They might not end up getting caught. We could have traffic at the tail end of the field play a factor into the outcome of this race. And as these 4 all stay lined up nose to tail, look at the gap they put on Rob Evans, who's all by himself. Evans might get swallowed up by this group. I can't believe Chris Darlington's up here. I'm gonna have to go back and look at this race afterwards and see how he gained all these spots. Because this is an incredible job by this team. I mean, aside from Caleb Fogler drifting all the way back to where he did, which right now is... I just lost his name. 30th place after leading 29 laps today. Majority of the Blue Oval Automotive cars are doing really well, with Darlington up in 6th and Jose Mills right behind him in 8th. Well, Reese Banks sees that traffic that they're coming up on. He wants to make the move now. For 2nd place on Ryan Butcher, Fitzwater says thank you very much. He'll slot into 3rd. Now can he use the slower cars of Batson and Collins as a pick to get by Dylan Poteet for the race lead? Where is the slower traffic going to go? Which lane do they yield? All depends on where Poteet catches them. If he catches them on a straight, perfect. If he catches them in a corner, not good. Fuel no longer a concern. Everybody can make it the rest of the way. It's basically you got what you got unless a caution comes out and shakes things up. 41 drivers running, 40 of them on the lead lap. Matthew Rodriguez, 4 laps down. Cody Lamas, the only driver out of the race. As they are wadded up now behind Keith Batson, that Dale Jarrett throwback. Like Poteet had to back out of the throttle there, and it checked up everyone else behind him. Now he'll try and get a run on these 2 cars again. Maybe see if he can get to their inside on the back straightaway. Shows the nose to the left of Keith Batson. Batson will yield the inside line. Can Poteet clear the 39 car is the question, and no, he cannot. Fitzwater going to jump up to the outside of Reese Banks. Not sure that was the right decision, because Poteet and Banks are going to have the inside line here through 1 and 2. They're going to get by the 39. Butcher and Fitzwater did not. Butcher's trying now out of turn 2, near contact between himself and Batson. Now Poteet will look to the inside of Collins to put him a lap down. Had to bail out of the throttle. Shallow entry there into the narrow turn 3. All 4 drivers now have cleared Keith Batson. Ryan Butcher trying to catch out Banks. Banks tried to throw the block, couldn't do it. They nearly banged doors there into turn 1. As Banks had to bail out of the throttle. And now Ryan Butcher all over the back bumper of Dylan Poteet for the race lead. Potentially the race win, as that last time by, we're at 10 to go. Oh, big checkup right there. Poteet nearly had the Gatorade Toyota in his back bumper. And Fitzwater almost was into the back of Butcher. That could have been catastrophic. Now Poteet finds a way to the inside of Mitchell Collins going into turn 1. And Butcher and Fitzwater will follow him on through. Banks is going to try and do the same, and he will clear as well. So now, the top 4 clear of the traffic. Long ways up before you get to Matthew Rodriguez and Destin Bolin. It's nearly about a third of the racetrack, so it is now mano y mano y mano y mano here, with coming around to 8 laps to go. You're going to make the move for the win. You got to do it down here into 1, I believe. You got to make maybe a late move into turn 1. The inside line is just not there over in 3 and 4. But you got to make sure you don't make that move too soon as well. Fitzwater shifting left there, going into 3. No attempt made, but maybe trying to give Butcher something to think about. Distract his gaze from the windshield to the rearview mirror, potentially. As Dylan Poteet has now led the most laps, 33 laps out in front for the 31. Trying to hold them off for what's going to be these final 6.5 laps at Darlington. If Poteet can close out the deal, it will be the second time that Fortnite Squad Racing, formerly Pigeon Racing, has won here at Darlington. Matthew Rodriguez did it back in Season 5. It will also be the first time that Chevrolet goes back to victory lane in quite a while. The last Chevrolet to win was Fitzwater back at Mid-Ohio. Or no, crime correction. Nope, the week after it was Texas Connor Breton. Since then, though, it has been Ford Mustangs that have gone to victory lane. Speaking of Fitzwater, oh, he almost made that move work against Ryan Butcher. Can Butcher clear him coming down here into turn 1? Yes, he will. Barely. Holds on to the second spot. But they both lose a little bit of ground to Dylan Poteet as a result. Or do they? Look at the run that Ryan Butcher's going to get here out of 2. He's going to try and drive it deep there into 3. No, he thought better of it. Backed out. Maybe trying to rotate through the center and get a run here on the front straightaway. Very smart there by Ryan Butcher, realizing the inside was probably not going to yield profitable. Oh, but it might cost him now. Fitzwater's got him on the inside going into 1, and Fitzwater will move into 2nd. Reese Banks is going to move into 3rd place. Dylan Poteet this time around is going to be at 3 laps to go. Fitzwater now moving into 2nd. Zachary Fitzwater looking to join Matthew Rodriguez, and Casey Hoyt is a 2-time winner. Reese Banks has fallen back. Ryan Butcher's way back out of the picture, and now comes down between a couple of Chevrolet bow ties unless Banks can reel them back in quickly. Looks like he might be able to. Yeah, he's there, so he's still in the conversation. He's going to look to the inside of Fitzwater. Nope, not going to be able to do it. Fitzwater's probably going to have to make the move, I would honestly say this lap. I don't know if you want to wait till the last lap. But Fitzwater probably has a plan. Dylan Poteet's going to make that rear bumper as wide as he possibly can. Two Chevrolets and a Ford. Ryan Butcher trying to get back up there. He's about 2.5 car lengths behind Reese Banks. If these guys get double wide, he might have a shot, but they're still single file going into 3. Poteet running whatever line he wants to run. Fitzwater's got to probably do something outside of his comfort zone, and this time by, it is the white flag. 1 more lap to go at the track Too Tough to Tame. It's been a crazy one here today. A lot of strategy involved, a lot of drivers out in front, but Dylan Poteet trying to close out the deal for his first win on the season. Reese Banks had to bail out of the throttle there off of turn 2. Fitzwater, one last-ditch effort. Oh, he slipped up there going into 3. Poteet might have enough advantage here coming out for 4, and he does. Dylan Poteet gets his first win of the season. He's going to get the checkered flag today at Darlington Raceway. Becomes only the 3rd driver that has run more than 3 full-time seasons that is a charter driver that goes to victory lane today. The other 2 being Dylan Young and Levi McIntyre. Zachary Fitzwater in his 2nd full-time season. Matthew Rodriguez, a non-charter driver. But Dylan Poteet, who came into this race 7th in overall points, may, I'm going to put this in quotes like I've been doing all the beginning of this season, may have just clinched himself a spot in the playoffs this season. That will mark the first win on the year for Fortnite Squad Racing as well. The organization last season only had 4 victories, and they all came courtesy of 1 driver. That was Nick Gunther. Standings should be official. And indeed they are. Dylan Poteet leading a race-high 41 laps here today. Picks up the victory. Zachary Fitzwater will bring it home in second. Job well done for him. This should move him back into the top 30 in points and into a wild card spot for the playoffs. Reese Banks, great run in third. Ryan Butcher there in fourth. Chris Dollerton, again, very impressive of his strategy with pit road and the green flag pit stop cycles to garner a top 5. His teammate Jose Mills right there with him in 6th. Dylan Young will bring it home in 7th. How about Anthony McCrory? We didn't really talk much about him today, and he worked his way up into a top 10 run. In 8th, Austin LaPlante finally stops the skidding. He'll bring home a top 10 in 9th. And Ryan Brommer, second straight week that he'll finish inside of the top 10, as he will finish in that 10th position. Rob Evans will finish in 11th. 12th place for Laura Chung. Charles Sanford 13th. Levi McIntyre 14th. Kyler Sustre managed to work his way back up to 15th. But that was after starting on the pole and leading 14 laps today. Michael Norman was 16th. Connor Breton 17th. Casey Hoyton 18th, so he should keep the points lead going into Chicagoland, but Evans will have cut into it a little bit. Matt McIntyre and Jessica Shelton are going to complete the top 20. Then it was Benjamin Miles, Daniel Voiles, Will Goss, Nick Gunther, Kyle Matthews, the top 25. Biggest shocker of the day has to be last week's winner, Caleb Fogler. He was up inside of the top 10. Pretty much the first half of this race, led 29 laps. And after that last cycle of green flag pit stops, fell all the way back to 28th position. I'm not exactly sure what happened with that car, but it was not good. Another driver that also was running well today that faded back late was James Qualls. Qualls was up in the top 10 the early portion of this one. And he's going to finish back in 32nd position. Some other drivers that were running well in points, not going to get the results they were looking for. Jesse Turner, 3rd in points, back in 31st. And then Reggie Fogelman, RJ Bishop, Destin Bolin, these are drivers that were inside the top 10 and just outside the top 10, finishing outside the top 30 in this one. Keith Batson and Mitchell Collins, also you can throw them into that batch as well. They were 12th and 13th coming in. They finished 1 lap down due to damage sustained from the Cody Lamas incident on the back straightaway. Cody the only driver out of the race, and Matthew Rodriguez finishing 4 laps down in the 41st position in his first race for Bishop Family Racing. Well, all is apparently well on the Chevrolet side for Fortnite Squad Racing. Dylan Poteet picks up the victory here today at Darlington Raceway. Congratulations to him. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here from the track Too Tough to Tame. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to Parts Crew today. We showed you focus your results, and these are what the point standings look like heading into our final regular season race of the first half of the regular season in preparation for the All-Star break. Chicagoland Speedway next Sunday. Qualifying going to take place the Saturday prior. Be sure to tune in for that. Thank you for tuning in today. And we will see you guys next week as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV. Offline racing at its best.